all these families.
We all set?
All set.
Okay, well, I guess we can get started now that we got a quorum here. So I call this meeting to order at 7:09. Roll call.
Jarmo.
Here.
Here?
Here.
Okay. I guess John Parham will be showing up a little bit earlier or later. We'll go into citizens' time. Anybody out there as a citizen have any concerns of how we run our board or any issues that we've done? All you guys are here for COAs. Okay. Then we'll move on to approving the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes yet?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Wednesday, October 17th, 2012, ARB meeting.
I'll second.
Got a second? Any discussions? Anybody find any errors in there? Okay, I guess I'll close discussions and call a vote. We just need to do a group call on that, right? I can't remember. I'm going blank. Okay, everyone who's in agreement and approves the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No abstains? Okay, we're good. Okay, that throws us right into the next agenda item, which is Certificate of Appropriateness. I guess we'll start off with Alexandra's Keep Lane, the shed. That's you guys. I apologize for dragging this out, but we know you guys have a new homeowners association. We didn't really want to start trampling on top of it and get everything out. So we wanted to, get a little bit more information and make sure that the homeowners association, or at least whatever is formed at this time, was in agreement with what you wanted to do and everything. And I guess last time I looked or communicated with you, Sherry, the homeowners agreement was thrown in here.
Yes.
And where's that at? I know I saw it somewhere. Okay. Well, I'm good with this. What I need is a motion.
Did you wanted to see?
Did you want to?
We have a photo of the pieces of it laying against the siding, just so you can get a color comparison, if that helps.
Okay, that would be great. That'd be great.
I think that was one of the questions that we had
Yeah.
from the last meeting.
I just put a piece and took a picture next to it, and that's the door down there, took a picture next to it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Exactly what we had thought, but.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's exactly what we thought. What we were a little bit hesitant on is if you go by the Fauquier Bank, they have some white trim, and they got their siding's kind of gray, and that white kind of looks like a neon coming off of it. And that's why I definitely wanted to try and get the homeowners approval or the homeowners association approval with some type of a view. Do you have a soft copy of those or anything? Or?
I don't.
Okay, so it's okay.
I mean, I don't, yeah.
Okay.
I got one on my computer, Steve.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, here's how vanilla is vanilla.
We tried to pick a sunny day and take some pictures. So hopefully
Well, we thank you for your patience.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the shed at 14723 Alexander's Keith Lane.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Of course, any discussion? So we'll go right into the approval then. I guess we'll have a vote. Does everybody approve?
Aye.
Aye.
So you got approval.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your patience.
See my copy from the showed it in blue.
Yeah, very white.
Have a good evening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Point of information. information for you, Sherry. Do I need to attach a new one, or can I just mark it up and put my initials on it? Okay. Let me do this real quick, and then we'll hit up the next certificate. This one, 1017. Okay, that takes care of that. Now we'll go to agenda item 4B, which is Gossan Manor Place. That's you. Would you like to speak on it? You gave us two options. Which one are you really leaning towards?
The black one.
The black wrought
I
iron?
think the reason why is the walkout basement bands railing is that same color. And we're going to be submitting approval for a Trex deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the railing that goes along that, we'd like to do, has like white posts, and it has those same black spindles in between them, so it kind of ties it all in together. So,
Yes. Yeah. Okay, do I have any motions on this?
Oh, I will motion to approve that fence at 15,000 Gossan Manor Place to enclose the backyard.
And I guess I'll second it, give you a chance to look at it.
No, I saw
Okay,
it.
you done?
Yeah. I was just
Okay.
looking through it.
Is there any discussion?
I don't have any.
Okay.
I
So
guess
with
I
the
just
black
have one
fence,
question. It
the
would be-
black, the first, yes, the black.
If our homeowner association hasn't said yea or nay about it yet, so if they would prefer to have the white one instead and they say no to the black one, would you all approve the white one, the white scalloped one as a backup option?
That's one of the look up. I didn't have a chance to look that up. What guidelines, do your guidelines say about the vinyl? Do you, Sherry? I gotta look that up. Guidelines with vinyl fencing
Black.
and stuff. Are we good with that, do you know?
Do you want to go look it up? Oh, you have it already. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe we have allowances for
Yeah, I think-
wrought iron and wrought iron look.
Yeah, I think
If
we
their
do.
homeowners
It's just,
don't allow her first choice of that black wrought iron, she's asking about the second choice, white vinyl scalloped.
yeah, see, I just go back so far, because I remember when I first came on, we didn't, vinyl still wasn't approved yet.
That's a dip
So I gotta
right
go
there.
back and look.
Okay, I like that.
I mean, it's-
Yeah.
it's-
Huh, I think
Demolition guidelines.
As long as it's within our guidelines and that, I don't have a problem with
Yeah, right here.
And that looks pretty darn close to it. That looks
Yeah.
pretty much exactly.
Yeah,
like it.
the design is perfect.
Okay, so what's the issue then?
I just wanted to make sure that we did approve vinyl, because like I said, I go back so far, all this crap blends together, and I know when we first
I'm rather
started.
certain we do, but yeah, go ahead, it'll be right there.
And would she have to then resubmit for another approval if the
No.
first choice?
No, we can approve both options if we're happy with both of them.
So gates, it'll be whenever.
Yeah, there we go.
But you know, it's- Sure she has vinyl on it.
Yeah,
You know, wood or wood look products, which
There we go.
I think we,
I think that's what, yeah.
actually, we don't say wrought iron or wrought iron look, we don't actually say that, but.
So, yeah.
ornamental basis, you could actually put into that.
Yeah. So, like I said, on the designs there, and that's what's typically offered as one of the higher category items out there nowadays too. Yeah, it looks okay.
I'll go ahead and then amend my motion to approve the fence at 15,000 Gossam Manor Place to be either the 3-rail ornamental aluminum black or the picket dip top scalloped white vinyl facing as per your HOA recommendation. Either is fine with the IRB.
Well, good, thank you.
Which I think it actually
Could I have a second on
possibly
that?
be. But it'd be close.
And I don't have a problem with that either.
They look even, so.
Yeah.
That's
Looking
okay.
for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so the amendment was seconded, so the full motion's out. Any more discussion?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we'll put this to vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like it's a full-blown
Okay.
approval.
Thank you.
Either one's good.
Okay, all right.
Now, does it go to PC next week?
Yeah, Monday.
Did you guys have a joint PC last night? Because Rob said it was a joint PC. I was surprised. Because I knew PC was next week.
SUP, yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me sign this off then. And
Okay, thank you.
And so it'll go to the planning commission on the 19th
Okay,
for their final.
okay, good deal. You'll have your stuff back to the HOA by then.
Yay.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming out. Makes our job easier to ask questions. Thanks.
It was a big trek to get here.
Oh, yeah.
That, what, 500 yards deep right here?
Okay. Now we'll go on to agenda item 4C, which I guess I'll give a background just to get a history on the board record. This, of course, is a quick turnaround approval that we did unofficially for the Madison Corner shops so that she could get a leaky roof fixed. Since she was changing materials, I said it would be best for us to go through it as a board, just to confirm that everybody was in agreement. We did get agreement through emails, but I requested that she do put in a request or a certificate of appropriateness application, just so that there was paperwork done on this, so that if anybody complains about it, we can say it was formally approved. Sherry put together this for her through screen captures that I put on there as a recommendation for her description to use, but my PDF printer driver was blowing up and giving errors when I tried to print it, so all I could do is the screen captures. That's why we have what we have. But the roof's up. Did anybody notice it? I took a hard look when I went by, and you could see it. Same color as the rest of the roof. I need to check it, though, coming from Madison.
Yeah, I didn't check it from the Madison area, but I saw it.
But
Looks
looks
perfectly
fine,
fine.
yeah, and it's unnoticeable. No one's going to even notice it. From what
It's
I
not
see.
that big.
Yeah, from the Washington
Yeah,
Street sign, yeah, you got to
you
kind of
just
look through
see
the
a,
foliage of the tree.
you just
and-
see a little bit through the trees and that, unless you're really up there on Madison Street and you're sitting there looking at it.
Yes.
We're climbing her wall to look at it.
No.
So do we need a formal motion for the approval?
So, yeah, let's go through. There's going to be some more work done on it, but really the work that's going to be done is actually an improvement to what's up there. If you had a chance to really physically get up there and look at it, she's got some shingles on the, what do you call that hip wall? That freestanding hip wall that they have there?
The parapet wall?
Is that the parapet? Yeah, on the back side of it, it's got just tar shingles that are all curling up. She's going to have that torn down or taken off and put hardy board planking there and replace the lower hardy board planking where that met the roof on the back side of the building. I mean, it's pretty much going to match. Same color as
Yeah.
what's painted on there. And if you looked at it, you got two different paint colors on that from where they must have repaired one of the sidings before. So at least it'll be more consistent than what the original paint that's up there right now. So, but that's only going to be on the back side of those walls. It's not going to be on any of the street facing. None of that's going to be repaired.
It shouldn't
So
be
I
that-
included that in here as well. Okay, so I guess I'll be looking for a motion to get this approved.
Well, I make a motion to accept the certificate of appropriateness for 14891 Washington Street for the replacement of the roof.
Second.
Okay. Discussions. I guess with that motion, since we did include the hardy board planking repairs.
To include,
Okay.
yes.
Do I get a second on that amendment?
Second to include.
Okay. Any discussions? It's pretty much a done deal, so there's no discussions. So we'll put it up for approval or for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Let me sign this then. Okay. Now we'll go to Town Council update, agenda item 5. Pass it over to you.
Yes, sir. A few of the special use permits for Berry Thing for Her, upscale seconds, and things like that were approved by town council yesterday. Master plan is still in work, streetscape's still in work. I will defer to Marchant for a more detailed update on actual master plan, town center plan, and all that good stuff. I did talk to town council about anything wanted, asked of, or required of the ARB needs to be directed to me as the liaison to present to the ARB, and it will also need to be CC'd to our town attorney. That was also, she needs involved in all of that as well. I gave a copy to anyone that wanted it of the Certified Local Government Initiative and packet. They will be, have forwarded that on to Planning Commission for their review and discussion. And that's pretty much about it. The signage was brought up. Welcome Signs project that we are working on a plan that will be presented to them in the December meeting. That was all that was stated with that. Other than that, I will defer to Marchant to update us on actual master plan. And
Okay, can we do that now?
Sure.
Okay. Let me distribute this to you. Okay, there was two consent, I'll go into detail when I pass this out. two plans that were presented by the contractor. One is called the one-way concept plan, directs traffic in one direction on the site. And we have a two-way.
Wow, look at all these parking spaces.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, where'd they come from?
Should have put on the microphone. How much has the group been briefed on this? Anything?
Zero.
Zero. Yeah.
Okay. Many of you might recall a charrette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a
I
few
think one of
years.
the challenges that is presented to the town, there was the master, or the Jerry Kennedy plan, I guess we would call it, for this property. Once that project was no longer viable, kind of this ongoing question about, if we're going to go ahead and the council went ahead and made the command decision that they were not going to try to resell the property, that they would go ahead and hold on to it, and that was the subsequent improvements to the two buildings. And so the desire was how to better address this space that we control, how to make it a true mixed-use sort of space, indicative of what's going on during Haymarket Day and Oktoberfest and the others. I think originally the concept was maybe doing a master plan for the whole town, a more detailed plan than Charette. That seemed to be a little more than we could chew, not enough more than we could chew. So why don't we go ahead and start with the property that we control in the downtown. And we had, despite kind of the somewhat contentious nature of the two buildings being renovated, we have had some positive feedback about that, and I think people are generally anxious to see this corner to it. So that being said, we went out and put out to bid a concept plan for master planning of the site. And I don't have the actual list with me, but there's some general parameters to deal with: parking, stormwater management, and use of a public space. So they came out, surveyed the site, looked at some of the existing conditions, how we use the buildings today, how the traffic flows today, and went ahead and just did two general concepts for the town. There was a working group that was put together to provide feedback on these. That includes the town engineer, myself, Gene, I think Rebecca Bear is on there. I forgot who else was there to provide some initial feedback. We're looking for the ARB's feedback eventually as well. And then the idea is to move it forward to council and have them go ahead and adopt a plan. Now, this isn't just a pretty picture. With it, we expect to actually have a work plan that would execute whatever plan is adopted by the council. So, that being said, this is simply the horizontal step. We've not gone into the vertical, the facade changes and the like. That's going to be a subsequent step that we'll need the ARB's feedback on. So this is simply the layout of the site. So the first you can see with the one-way conceptual plan predominantly comes off of Jefferson Street. There is some two-way traffic coming off of Washington Street. They noted the public space up on the corner. They've been trying to incorporate some LID and some landscaping. What they're trying to suggest is that overall, you add about 10, almost 20 spots, but the way they've arranged it, you would actually decrease the impervious surface area significantly. So the major features of the two-way plan, the reduction in impervious surface is not as great. You actually get less spots with the two-way plan. I'm trying to think of some other features to look at. There's more activity or more improvements going along Jefferson Street. So the initial feedback this working group gave to the contractor was, I think there was a general preference for the two-way traffic plan. And some of the things that we noted was the public space. It reduces it significantly. So the idea was trying to recapture some of that. The LID measures, while efficient, you tend to scatter that over the project, over the property, versus I think the preference would be to have more usable common space. Obviously, how we use this property today, having some of these raised islands up kind of in the parking lot here in front of Washington Street, is a challenge. Also, there's no formal entrance with this plan. Some people have talked about doing some kind of vestibule or some other formal entrance to the building, so we provided some feedback on that. What you see with the LID, or low impact development, they're really trying to deal with a lot of the stormwater problems that we already have. As you see in the back of the building on the two-way plan, there's a rain harvest tank. The idea is to capture water coming off of the roofs and reuse that to water the grass and the landscaping on the property.
That's in both plans.
Yes, both plans to incorporate that. On the one-way plan, they kind of have a gazebo. They kind of have a more defined space on the corner versus the other one, which is more of an open space. They have a seat wall around it to define it. Some of the things we talked about, too, in providing the feedback was, if you've noticed when we have events on the town property, there's not really a separation between the people and the traffic. And that's just some concern about children dart, especially when we don't close Washington Street, darting out. So we have some suggestions on trying to separate it, either moving the sidewalk back and putting some kind of landscaping, be it street trees with grates or something else that better defines it. The seat wall was one option to deal with that. Also along Jefferson Street, we were anticipating some of the Connolly money to bring whatever pedestrian improvements are coming with the Route 66 widening, that they would bring it all the way into town. So we've asked them to accommodate some of that sidewalk along Jefferson Street. Excuse me, along Jefferson Street. What are some of the other feedback that we've given?
On the one-way plan,
Uh-huh.
is there a way to get to like the old Playtime building from Washington Street?
No, and that was one of the challenges of that plan. You would have to circle around.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we had talked about, too, with the preference for the two-way plan is you provide some separation from the residential use behind it. You also have kind of two-way traffic for people trying to get out of what is now the very thing for her. So we just felt generally. So we didn't tear them up. They said we would come. We gave some general parameters, and that's what they came back with. What are some things we talked about? I think one of the other things we need, the town, and especially the ARB, probably needs to look at as well. Part of the issue with the Kennedy plan, if you remember, was all the modifications he needed. And to be honest with you, we're recording this, aren't you? I didn't know that it was necessarily, when I first started working for the town, I didn't see the mechanism with which the town could do that. But what dawned on me later on is if we're trying to be a pedestrian scale town, but we're driven by parking, are we working at cross purposes? Unlike other jurisdictions, we don't have on-street parking. So we can't, offset some of our parking demand on the street. We have to find it off-street. So unless we have a municipal parking lot, we're challenged with how to provide parking. So the idea being is that should this public space be parking space driven? Should out of this exercise should we be revisiting our ordinances in terms of what we require for parking and the like? So what we had said was maybe reducing some of the number of spaces. For instance, a lot of times we put our stage up against the post office. Taking some of those out. Talk about formalizing the entrance. Maybe bringing the common space out more into this area. They're looking at doing some of the grass pavers in some of the areas. Maybe do some asphalt drive aisles and then do some pervious pavers. And what that would allow you to do is be able to use it during the day or during the week, and then on the weekends be able to have that area used for events and things like that. Mm-hmm. So right now, rather than having these parking islands kind of raised where you can't get across the space, it's just making it flush. Maybe doing some recessed areas or some other types of things. So a lot going on. The initial concept is I think it's pretty good. What this also does too is eliminate cut-through traffic. Right now we have people kind of cutting through it. The design. We'd also asked about the design of that there again allow some ability to get around during events. Talked about signage, talked about where they would do their dumpsters, making sure that we would match the streetscape improvements that we're already doing. Talking again about separating some of the sidewalk and some of the public space away from the street. That's pretty much it. Sorry, that was a long explanation.
Yeah.
That was good.
But so that's where we are now. I think what will happen is they're supposed to come back, the contractor, with some of the feedback we've already given. The idea is we're kind of mixing that. We don't want to be death by committee where we can't get past the finish line. But at the same time, we realize we need everybody's feedback. So what we're trying to do is nail down some of these details. We did take some of this stuff from the charrette. We looked at our comp plan and said, hey, our comp plan talks about this corner being pedestrian, having the post office incorporated into the site, repurposing some of these buildings. So we're making sure that they incorporate those elements into it. Want to get some more detail, and then formally present it to the ARB, the commission, and the council. So, so you do not have. Bottom line is, you don't have to make a recommendation tonight. This
Right.
is simply just sharing with what you're doing.
It's just an information exchange.
Correct.
What is the low impact development area? Is it really just grass areas, or do you plan on putting in pavers, or?
I think the applicant was looking at, not the applicant, this is from the contractor, J2 Engineers, I'm sorry, I looked at the one top. But it's an arrangement of things, the impervious pavers, the dropped landscape islands, having some of your curb and gutter cut into depressed landscape areas, narrow strips between parking lots. What was this one over here? Bioretention, I guess is generally what you would call it. So they're proposing to do a mixture of all of that. You know how in front of the CVS, I don't know if you ever noticed, there's actually a rain garden up front?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's kind of a depressed area with some grasses that the water drains into. So I think that's what they were looking toward in and around the post office area.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so low back here in the back.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to recapture. Obviously, we have parking right up against the building right now, gravel. That would pull that back and open it up, and you see some of the trees
Yeah.
that they're proposing to go in. And that's what the rain harvest tank would look like.
The bigger one or the smaller one?
I think we would have to give a preference.
Oh, so this would actually be above ground. This wouldn't be underground.
Correct. The idea was to maybe do some stuff underground, but the elevations were so flat. Trying to get the changes in elevation well, it's two things. One, the underground stormwater retention would be difficult, and then for capturing the rainwater would have to be above ground type of facility. I mixed them up. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this is strictly to stay green and use the
Correct.
rainwater. Okay, it's not actually a stormwater collection.
That's right.
Okay,
Because there was some idea.
that's what I was
trying to do
assuming
some-
that was stormwater collection, not an actual harvest. Okay,
Yeah, so it'll be the harvest, and then the LID would actually be for the stormwater runoff from all the lots. The original, when we were first talking to them strictly about stormwater with all the flooding that we have, the idea was trying to do some kind of underground tank that the water in the back of the property would go to it, and then we'd bring it around out front to our connection over here, but they're saying just you don't get the change in elevation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Wait, so we're not looking at building an underground pond or any retaining pond or anything like that?
you know,
So how come we don't have to do that and yet you Giuseppe's did? And
It is generally, we're an existing condition, we're not new construction, and by this plan, we're actually decreasing the impervious surface area. So generally, the rule is, once you start increasing the impervious surface area, you have to come up to the most current standard. Now, we do have, what picks up, it's not stormwater management, but we do have, when the streetscape was done, there was the stormwater system on the street that had this site as 90% impervious. So we kind of have a de facto stormwater. We allow it to go off-site and go into the storm system. Most projects now, you
Yeah,
have to
run
do it
down my
on-site.
backyard.
And
Is
then
what
you-
it says.
I knew that was going to come
Which
up
I've been complaining about for years.
since
so.
you've moved in.
so like the Merchants Tire and Auto, they what did they?
They had an open pond, and they put in a storm septic
they had
system,
an
which is
open pond
underground.
already.
So it's actually underneath the parking lot
Right.
on the east
Yeah.
side.
Because they wanted to increase their parking lot size.
Correct.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now, one of the concepts I know is just a wild
no, we'll just throw it out there.
thought, but if we want to try to keep, this walking green town type of concept, did we look at, instead of having blacktop parking lot, actually going with like the concrete grass configuration? Like
I think that's what they were looking at. something
Yeah.
Like this. Like if you go into Middleburg, do you know where the public parking lot is behind?
the Safeway or whatever that.
It's down off of Pendleton Street. It's a parking lot behind. If you're going into town, going westbound into town, you pass the Exxon station. You come up to the stoplight. There's right before you get to the stoplight on your left. There's a little driveway, and there's a parking lot back there. And what it is, it's rectangular. In the middle aisle is asphalt, and there's a concrete strip about 8 inches wide along each side, and then it transitions to those pavers. So what it allows you to do is gives you that drive aisle, and then the cars, the concrete pad, a strip allows for the turning movements of vehicles. So
It wouldn't tear up the.
correct. So I think what they wanted to do,
Yeah,
what we
that's
suggested to
difficult
them.
here because there's so many turn spots.
Yeah. So what we, I'm sure the plans I was talking about earlier is maybe bringing the common space all the way out to here and all the way out to here.
Yeah, and
So
just making these overflow with this.
You would lose these parking spaces? I didn't quite understand that. I was going to ask about that in a second. They would still be used as parking?
One of the things we wanted to talk about was using the paved drive aisle and then using the pervious pavers, but not have a raised
I get it.
curb and just have it flat.
So that this space could be considered part of that space
Yeah.
when it needs to be?
Right now, it's, these would be raised,
Okay.
and so these would be raised. So you said either maneuvering is a problem, or if you're trying to use it as a public space, you got people walking across.
Yeah.
It's not flat. It's kind of hard to tell.
I like having an ornament like this, but with the way we use the property now, this would only hinder traffic and being able to use it. So I would probably lean more to something open like this.
And this was neat. They have the seat wall that would go along.
Right.
Yeah, and I can see the benches around
That
it
would
here.
hinder traffic as much as the walls. What would
The
the point
gazebo,
of-
I think,
What was the point of hindering traffic?
Well, not hindering traffic, but when we have an event,
Driving traffic.
when we have an event, this whole open space ends up becoming seating and congregation area, and with this actually separates it so that if you did have a stage over here or something, this wouldn't be too usable. People would be still trying to migrate in here to get a view and everything. And this chunk of land would not be as efficiently used.
You also need to keep in mind with the parking spaces on some fire rescue.
People have a
Apparatus.
hard time, can't get on that stuff.
And like if you'd have a car in here that would have to be towed or something to be able to get a truck that size to
Maneuver it.
maneuver in, because you're going to reduce
Right.
between your parking. So you need to keep that in mind.
Right, especially on that one-way plan, if,
Yeah.
say, old Playtime caught fire, the only way for them to get to is go all the way around through Jefferson and then down to there. There's no access entrance from Washington.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
And I'm thinking more on an ambulance because they're longer, because your fire engine and that, they can sit and
On the
get
street.
out on the street and with the hoses and the ladder and that come over. But especially with tow trucks and ambulances and that. And then also, if you've got tenants here in the building. If they're moving in and out, they're going to have a moving truck that's going to have to.
Get around.
Correct. That's a good point. We'll make sure we'll bring that up to them as well. That's one of the things I was drawing about too, like doing a more formal entrance. Have you guys been to Blacksburg recently? They did a farmer's market down there. It's incredible. It's beautiful. They did like a nice canopy kind of area with displays, movable displays underneath.
Where's that at?
In downtown Blacksburg.
Right on 460 and what's that?
It's College Avenue and Main Street. So it's actually down downtown.
Yeah, there was a large, I want to say a tiny little mall, like the Washington Mall. There was a big green space, like a one-way traffic on either side.
This is down behind,
I know, it's pretty sad. By the Hokie House? Or
Hey, well,
not by the Hookie House, as we're coming in,
by Mike's Burgers?
the light.
wait, you have
I know
the warmer right there, and then you had
Past this restaurant.
one-way traffic. That
Oh, no, this
direction
is
you
actually
have.
downtown.
There's some building theater right in here. You had the downtown area right through here. So it's somewhere, but there's
Yeah,
houses.
so
There's
there's
buildings.
College, there's College Avenue right here,
Correct.
and there's a road behind it, and there's Washington Street. And then there's kind of the cross street that goes between it. And right behind it, they've turned into this farmer's
okay.
market space. But it's
Okay.
like, it's the old wood and iron stanchions. They have a nice, it's all, I have to, almost want to say like Adirondack looking kind of structure.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice. So when concerts, people could sit underneath it, or people could play underneath it. And the farmer's market, which we have, they could use it, sort of
And
thing.
is that something that you could incorporate in this?
You could incorporate in there, or we're suggesting maybe, because right now how we use it is over here. That's where the stage goes now. So we used to have it over here, but there's complaints that the sun was going into the band's eyes.
yeah.
So they're talking about turning it this way. Although some people say this way the sound thing goes back toward the residential. Who knows? Can't please everybody. But since people kind of set up here for farmer's market anyway,
Yeah.
so why not be able to make it kind of a neat space?
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, though, this is going to be all raised curb.
Correct. So that's going to be another thing we'll need to talk about is how are we making sure we.
Leave enough space for an actual stage.
So that's the kind of feedback we've been given, and so hopefully probably the next month or so they'll come back with a more defined plan, and then we can start vetting it through you. And this is the kind of feedback we need with fire rescue access and tow trucks.
These are already negating any type of porch. Like that.
Yeah, that's why we
Yeah.
recommended doing that.
Yeah, well, to tell you the truth, with the way this area is, it would be nice to see everything internal be flushed and just identified through any type of mechanisms like the concrete grass or any type of other forms of marking. That does leave everything open to, depending on how you want to set up the stages or how you want to use the area.
Festivals or anything.
Yeah, the moment you start putting curbs in, it becomes difficult to do things.
Yeah. Toss in a beer garden, you get a whole
I
bunch of
mean-
people face planting on the
Yeah,
asphalt.
You know, and if you do have these as low-impact development areas, that means, you're still not worried about someone who needs to drive their car through there. Even though you're identifying it as a separate type of area, it can still be driven upon. It's just that you
Yeah,
can't
that's
take
gonna be
any
more on the
heavy
front.
industrial vehicles or
Exactly.
anything like that. So,
And then over here, obviously, we more, I don't think people will be driving over this.
no, especially if you have shrubbery or landscaping there of some sort.
And this actually is not here. That was taken down. This is the old shed back there.
That old back building.
It was taken down? Oh, I did not notice this.
This is still there, though.
Oh, that,
That's the addition house.
Okay, I thought you were
It's
talking
the one-
about that piece.
No, it's the one on the
Yeah,
end.
sure.
There was some signage here too, here and here. And I don't know, I always thought it would be cool, just Marshall resident, not Marshall residents, do some kind of information signage. Not necessarily electronic, but something that kind of switched up. 'Cause other than the Haymarket Day, spend the day in Haymarket signs, we really have no other means with which to communicate stuff.
Yeah.
And people drive by there every day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, maybe add it on to that. So.
Well, we only, like you said, we don't want to drink from a fire hose. We want to, nibble at things and not take
Exactly.
too much to.
But are you generally
shoot.
Yes.
okay with how we're going? And
Yeah, and I think you got a little bit of feedback from us. as
yeah,
well.
I appreciate that.
That's everything that we kind of wanted to know. Off of this, though, I do have one question in regards to the post office building and its roof.
Okay.
Why does it look like a U?
Like a sag.
Like a sag?
I asked the contractor about that, and it was said to give it some character.
Oh, so that's on purpose?
Yeah, that was when they replaced the roof, that's what was happening. In other words, we fixed the sags on either side.
Okay.
And I guess they talked about it and said, well, the roof, it's still structurally sound.
Okay,
It just
that was
kinda
the
had a
question. I was
pitch
like,
to it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like on the back, you notice the air vents are not proportional, they're not symmetrical, and that's why, because there's a big old joist down the middle that we physically couldn't place the
Okay.
the
So I didn't know if that was purpose or if that was something that was
No.
going wrong.
No, that was, 'cause everyone's looking at it.
Yeah.
Pay all this money to fix it.
And
Do they have the windows in? Yeah, are they in now? I mean, I think the last month.
On
or
the
so.
backside, there are out
On the
front
side,
here.
it's
They had to
broken
order
panes
two.
and everything.
Yeah, they they tightened it. They sealed it up for the hurricane.
Okay.
But they have to order the window.
Okay, I was just
One
kind
side
of
of the window has
concerned
the
about
bars
that.
on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So
one thing to add on to the sagging roof that it's a complaint, at least for me as a resident. You got this building that you renovated and tried to keep with its historical integrity, and you still got that huge concrete slab stairway on it. Could we at least have taken some
Make it look like
what
a
are the
stone.
bricks, like the stones that we put around the foundation on that as well? Even if they are veneer stones, at least something to make it look like
Well, you know
like
what
it's
they
from
also,
that time period. As
you know what
opposed
they
to
also
being-
use is concrete, and then they cut into the concrete to make it look like
Stand?
Yeah, stamp,
stones
stamp or
and that.
veneer or
I saw that on
something.
TV the other night, and I thought, hey, that's a good. We could have used
I just don't
that.
think it was
Disappointed
part.
that didn't concept didn't get thrown into that.
I don't think it was part of the renovation. I just didn't think about it. We were worried about all the other stuff.
Okay.
Well,
What's interesting, you see the old pictures of it?
Yeah.
That used to be flat. That
Yeah,
used to be
that was flush before.
Yeah.
the road. I didn't realize how far down they excavated when they did the streetscape.
Yeah,
I guess that's why we had the retaining wall next door, right?
yeah.
Because they brought the road down so far.
What's what's the front doors on the old post office? What are they going to
They
do
were
with
supposed.
those?
They are supposed to take them down, repair them, and put them right back up.
Okay, I didn't know if they were going to try to replace them with something. And
No, I think the idea was like over here. I think we probably should have done an oval door, like a glass door on the very thing for her. But I think it was the budget and time. So I think once we start getting some revenues in from these tenants, then we'll be able to go back and do some stuff.
And just my last question is, has throughout this process, the discussion of the use of this building, where are we with that?
In this current form, where this would continue to be the town hall, and we have offices, stairs, and retail.
Okay. So basically, as is, nothing.
That was what I inferred earlier when saying when the council said we're going to keep the property, that I think we did have long-range plans to do the town hall on the east end of town, the Hanover properties. I don't know that it's abandoned, but I think but for now, this is the place where they're going to have it.
And that was my next question, because if the old firehouse is approved for the food pantry, then what's going to happen to the house that's sitting up on Hanover that's on the west end?
Exactly. We're going to have to figure out what we want to do with that, what kind of money we will put into it.
And has the
That's a
firehouse been
future
approved
plan,
for the
right?
pantry?
No, what has happened with that is Mark Verneal, who's or Villarreal, excuse me, is the public works guy that's in charge of it. Everyone submitted RFIs. What was a little unsettling to me is I read the RFI strictly that, requests for interest. Well, once they were all received, the county wouldn't release what the proposals were. Like, well, the whole point of request for interest is to vet the different options for doing it. Now you're not disclosing it because they felt that if they decided to sell it, it would compromise their negotiating position to sell it. So they basically sent out letters to everybody that showed an interest in it and said, "Will you pay fair market value for the building?" So, and the reason why they're vetting that, I guess, is they want to sell it to raise money for the fire and rescue folks. So that was a little disappointing, because I thought if there was enough interest in the community center, that they would go ahead and revamp the building, put it into it. But apparently that's... Some of the people that are proposing to buy it, I guess, are going to try to use it or keep it open as a public space.
There are a couple of private individuals that were looking at buying it as well.
Yep.
for business.
So we don't know exactly yet. I imagine once they decide to sell it, but they're selling both buildings. It's the complex, the bungalow and the old fire. Hopefully the food pantry someone will go in there that will leave it open for the food pantry. It'll be great.
I know the Rivertons are using it. I think they've got permission to use it for different things and that, because we're selling the fruit out of it.
Yeah. It's amazing now they've cleaned it all out. It's a whole different space now that all the stuff's out of there.
It's
Very utilitarian. It is what it is, but it's a neat building. You go in to see the old wood joists and trusses and the old hand dowel.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's neat.
I would love to
Big
have a
open space
house.
up top.
We can do it, but
So, I'm sorry. I took up a lot of your time on that. So,
Yeah, we got to get moving.
Thank you.
thank you much for
Thank you
coming
for your
out.
time.
no problem. Can I stay and listen to the...
I would like you to stay because when we get to old business, your comments may be
Okay.
welcome, or
Cool.
will be welcome. Anything more for town council update?
I have nothing further.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope, none.
Okay. So I guess that means we'll go to agenda item 6, Planning Commission update. And as we all know, one of the new business items that we'll be reflecting on is that Ellie resigned as the Planning Commission liaison and board member, so we don't have a Planning Commission update at this time.
I could give you one real fast.
If you would like to contribute, that would be good.
Sure. Quickly, there was a series of zoning text amendments that were sent to them by the council regarding parking. Interestingly enough, we don't allow more spaces at McDonald's. McDonald's came in with a proposal to expand to actually do 2 drive-through order lanes. Our ordinance, for some reason, says you're allowed a maximum of 6. Most ordinances say a minimum because you want to get as much traffic off the street as you can. So they're going to go back in and fix that. The sign ordinance, we're going to revisit the sign ordinance again, and the approximate timetable is 3 to 4 months. So the commission on Monday will be looking at, do they want to throw the whole thing out and start over? Do we want to allow neon, which we'll need your feedback on? Do we want to allow internally lighted signs? There's just some command decisions we have to be made before we jump in. We have folks like contemporary music we have to keep pushing them. But we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, there's just some key questions that I think what my suggestion and recommendation will be to the council or the commission is that they look at using the width of a building as a determining factor for their signage. Most ordinances say it's 12 feet. Divide that by half, you get 6 square feet, and you can do it however you want. A letter sign, a wall sign, a hanging sign, whatever you wanted to do on the building. So I think we'll have signs that are more proportional to the building versus the sign we have just above our door out here. That's the same size as, or smaller than what Leeberry has at the shopping center. So we'll definitely be bringing back that to the ARB for your input and suggestions. So sheets will be coming in soon. We'll be looking at that. There's a text amendment for funeral home use in the town with a crematory by special exception. That will be going to the commission for their vetting and whether or not it comports with the comprehensive plan in the B1 zoning district.
So we might be able to find out whether crematory does smell like bacon or not, right?
Exactly.
Well, even yesterday at the town meeting, the gentleman did say at this time he is not planning to put a crematory in his funeral home. It is just going to be a funeral home. It is potential for way future, but he is not planning on putting a crematory in the funeral home.
And where's
Well,
the funeral
yeah,
home?
where's
The
Towards
site we're
Phillips.
looking at is next to the animal hospital.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
So the parking is a problem for that. It's just interesting in our ordinance, we have a parking standard for funeral homes. We don't allow funeral homes, and it's only 10 spaces.
Well, they wanted to put one here, the crematorium.
Well, I think the one across the street used to be the old funeral home, didn't it? The house in the corner, the Victorian house? Way back when?
Yes, it was, what's his name? What's his name?
I can see his face in my head, but I can't remember who it is.
Who's the electrician, or the plumber? AC.
AC Watt.
AC. hit that house, I think, at one time. Wasn't that the house that was a funeral home? And then right across the street was the little building that housed the hearse,
Oh,
the
really?
horse-drawn hearse.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Interesting.
And it's been gone for a while.
Oh, wow. So anyway, that'll be an interesting discussion. We've had some interest in taking the old Durham building and converting that into a soccer plex.
The what building?
The Durham building behind the ice rink, the old 84 lumber,
Oh,
that big complex
yeah.
in back where the U-Haul places and Fred's garages.
Make it
Fred's,
making it an indoor complex?
so we're turning into the sports mecca for some reason.
has Guy come back with any plans for his
No, he came in all
property?
excited, which we thought was maybe it was going to be a Carbella's maybe on the property, and which we never heard back. He had the master plan that he came in with. His quote was, "I'm taking my toys and going home."
Was that, didn't he want to put a road crossing the railroad tracks? Didn't he want to, that goes by the, we're talking about the kitchen cabinet area, right?
No, we're talking Durham behind the old where the
Yeah.
ice rink is now. That building behind it.
Yeah, because,
That was also part of 84.
yeah, I remember
Yeah.
we were discussing how,
The ice rink was
Approval
part
for
of
a
the
road
road
to,
the property behind it. What's that?
yeah, because I think we were discussing approval of a driveway to go across the railroad tracks by the Haymarket storage area. We were kind of like scratching our heads on that, going, "Oh, I think that can be done."
No, what it is that Haymarket
Yeah, exactly.
self-storage
They're
right
gonna
now is
include that.
operating a storage lot without a permit.
Yep.
And so we're working with them, compelling them to come in with a site plan. But part of the issue was they went out on their own accord and shut off access across the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
They were having an issue with the soccer moms trying to find Jumpin' Jimmy's, getting lost. They'll turn by Pickle Bob's and then start circling around trying to find an entrance. And the problem is they're turning around on the railroad tracks to come back up. So Dave Wolf was concerned that they were going to get hit, so he just put the gate up, and that created a whole host of other issues. So we hope to be dealing with that with their site plan.
Okay.
So
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Planning Commission? Okay. I guess we'll move on to agenda item 7, new business. The only new business I had, like I said, was the Planning Commission liaison resigned. I don't know if that was reported in last meeting or not.
It was, well, Rebecca had mentioned at council yesterday that they would be looking at assigning somebody to the planning commission.
If they accept, right?
Yes,
I'm assuming. I think I know it might be.
that person then becoming the liaison to the ARB.
Okay. That's the only new business I know about. Does anybody have any new business they want to bring up? Okay. So I guess we'll move on to agenda item 8, old business. And that goes with the task list. So we can grab our task list here, and we'll just start on them. First on the list is bylaws. Good thing you're here, Marshawn.
yeah,
Did you get my list?
I did get your list. I saw your references. That I can get this to you before December.
Okay.
It's fairly straightforward.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I did try to incorporate both Fairfax County and the town or city of Roanoke. I think I did an okay job. I don't know. We need to discuss that and vet it with the board here. Did anybody have comments on what I put in there?
No, I think it looked fantastic.
I looked through it.
The one thing I noticed is in the ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
it says you have to have someone that's basically familiar with real estate. So we'll have to.
Must have been a dotty entry. Huh?
Oh yeah, you also put in there a board architect, one of the appointed ARBs is supposed to be a certified architect.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
going to be.
but then I think I put some type of default after that,
Their
didn't I?
primary role is to say that they use the sign.
Yeah.
That's the use of this, it says, here.
Okay, it's easy enough to. It says.
Yeah, that was to keep you around, John.
Architectural land
You can't fire me then.
One board member will be appointed from the town council, one from the planning commission. One member should be a person with knowledge of local real estate conditions, and one member should be appointed primarily on the basis of a knowledge and demonstrated interest in the historical heritage of the town. That would be Mr.
John. Yeah, where are you pulling that from?
This is section 58-556.
Okay, yeah, see, I didn't have direct access to the codes,
No, I'll do this for you.
so
You're doing a
those
yeoman's
were the
job.
kind of things, those are the kind of things that I didn't really have a good grasp on.
Yeah.
And I knew they existed because I could see them present in the Fairfax County stuff, so I was just
Yeah.
kind of like
It's
pulling
always
things off the
easier to
top of
edit
my
than
head.
create, so I appreciate creating it, and I can edit it faster, so not a
Okay.
problem.
And you got a soft copy, so it even makes it easier for you to edit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I don't know if I passed around a PDF or something, so no one couldn't change it without me knowing about it and all that stuff. I think. Did I make it a Word document? Or I think I made it a PDF and sent the PDF around. It's easier to email, of course, because it's smaller and all that
Well,
stuff.
no problem.
But
okay, that-
if you got the Word document, you're in good shape then. Let me know if you need it. Okay, any more questions on bylaws or any comments?
Looks pretty good.
Okay. And of course, the Caboose project is on hold. I probably won't mention it again until I put a date to readdress it in April, just so it doesn't drop off our list.
Excellent.
April 2013.
Oops, I have 2012 on there. I guess I got to modify the task list to say 2013. Okay, next item is the welcome signs. I'd like to try and vet whatever we can so that we can get this to town council to review at the December meeting.
Yeah.
So that means I want to get a by and by all and approval to pass this on for review to the town council. Did everyone have a chance to look at it?
No, sorry.
I did like one comment that Marchand was mentioning is instead of the northwestern, or I guess we should say coming from the northwest, so it would be the, I don't know what directions are, but I think I said it was northwestern. Yeah, northwest entrance. Maybe we want to do a low sign in the median, similar to Leesburg. Right now, we have it, the two concepts I threw out there was putting it as part of the street sign, which probably delegates where the merge off area to hit the flyover for 66, or actually putting it in the flyover of 66. But yours might be a good choice as well, if the median is large enough for us to put in something.
Did not stayed on the flyover when they were going to build it with the base of, the stone facade and everything else, and the people coming 15 south on that flyover, on the bridge itself, they said they were going to put something on that flyover. Maybe welcome to Haymarket or...
I think it was part of the discussion to do that, so it's just a matter of working with VDOT to make it happen. I mean, what Jen's idea is that we can get the I'm kind of preempting you, the certified local government standard, and we can get the sign on this highway that says Town Haymarket Historic District.
Right.
But I think Jen was saying that's a couple $1,000s to get that sign put up on the highway. So that would be great. And I think it's one of the sign concepts you already have in here. The one on the entry sign, if you go to 15 North and go straight into downtown Leesburg, the sign's only as high as this table.
Right.
But it's low and just says Leesburg. It's got like the stone pillars with the little round things on top. It's nice, demarcates it. Kind of that's where they bring it in. So if you notice when you turn left into town, there's striped right now. Let's see if VDOT would allow us to do some kind of in the median kind of thing.
I like that.
Yeah, but like I said, right now this package is strictly a concept. It's not really a design or anything. It's just saying, hey, here's locations where we think
sorry.
would be appropriate.
Baby steps, right?
Right.
Getting off the
Well,
time.
first we got to get approval by the town council that they like the concept, they are willing to buy into it by investing in it, and then, of course, that's when we discuss the next steps, which is, okay, how much money are you willing to propose and that we should design to, or do you want us to design something and give you a price of what it would take to get it done? So, this is actually the first step just to get it on their capital improvements, I guess, marker.
May I make one suggestion?
Yes.
So, what we're doing is, you call it, we're defining our gateways, but do we want to maybe do a wayfinding? In other words, right now, we have a nice sign for the police station, needs to be painted, but we have that sign with that concept. The old welcome signs used to look the same way. The sign out in front of the post office, or not post office, the museum. So do we want to do an overall package of wayfinding? Do we want to do a similar sign for the town hall? But incorporate that into this and then do a priority of work. In other words, have the council allocate money for someone to put together a comprehensive sign package for wayfinding in the town, and then just prioritize, how you implement it. Start with the gateways, then do the work into the town properties, or do it all at once. But I think, to me, it's just link it in. Why not define our gateways and then similarly define all our public facilities in town?
Right, have them tied.
Exactly.
The sign that's out here on the corner of Fayette and Washington? That
Suspended
sits. No, the one that sits right inside the parking lot to the museum. Used to be
The
an
railroad-
event.
Correct.
It's a real ugly sign right now.
The brown sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not incorporate a welcome sign
I think
there
that would be great, yeah.
and replace that? They used to be an event. They used to have covers on it. Well, they've been ripped off and destroyed by the weather and stuff. But, let's think about putting, welcome to Haymarket and stuff like that on it.
We can. We even have on the east end of town, we have the beat up now, but it has the different groups signs. The lions, the
I hate those.
Oh, yeah,
I
never
think
mind.
those look
Okay.
so trashy.
I was looking for our Welcome to Haymarket sign. It's not up there anymore, is it? Did it
I think
get
it's down in the
taken
basement. Well, Haymarket Motors has one of them.
Yeah, that was the one that...
That was down here. When it
Yeah.
fell down, they kind of just procured it and got it up on
Because
on some other road signs.
the picture I used was a previous picture we had in our packet, but when I drove by it, I could not find it. So it's
not
like,
there the
where'd
way
it go?
Oh, it's down. Yeah, it fell down, but I think it's in one of the Harover houses in the basement.
It's been down for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. So I remember there was
Yeah.
one of the scouts or someone went out there and cleared all around it, and they put some flowers out of it.
I was going to say, they used to plant
And then it
what's his
kinda
name?
collapsed.
Yeah.
And then it's like the town limits sign that used to be across the railroad tracks. That's gone too.
Probably
Yeah,
someone's
that
Because
is
I knew
gone,
I
isn't it?
remember looking specifically for it and saw it when I was coming up with this concept package, and then I drove by it again and specifically looked for it. It was gone. I was like,
Corporate
"Oh,
limit
where'd it go?"
sign on
So maybe I'll just suggest maybe just adding a sign that says, in addition, maybe looking at a sign concept for all the town's public buildings as well.
Yeah,
Or a more formal welcome sign.
For your wayfinding, the town's not big enough. What would you put on this wayfinding?
Well,
just a concept, I guess, brand the public-owned buildings? Or?
brand the public owned buildings, but like on the east end of town hall,
That one.
this
okay.
way. Or if you're coming up from Old Carolina across the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Police department this way.
Town
Town
way.
hall, museum this way.
Right.
You don't like that? Okay. That's usually your wayfinding is when you go. Okay.
Haymarket's not that big.
But you don't have to. I wouldn't think we would incorporate that. I was thinking more of branding these public buildings.
the actual building
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah.
not wayfinding it,
But
but
if you want to do a true wayfinding, then yes, you would have your directional signs that point
Absolutely,
where you want
right.
to go.
But that's what I was wondering. So
Yeah.
you're not that big. That's how I'm
Yeah.
thinking about her.
You know,
You're just like having a unified symbol sign.
Exactly.
You know, John,
Even a-
the public town parking.
Yeah.
They get there.
It was a shot. I was trying for it.
No, I think I think that's
Because
worth.
if we want to make this a walking town, we do need a central parking area.
Seems
There's
like
some
public
locations
parking
we can
here.
look at. So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so next town council meeting is in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, if you want, are there any changes you want to make to the slides that I have? I can throw in another slide that says,
The only thing
also
that-
incorporate internal signs for town branding.
Yeah, that, and we had discussed on the Welcome to Haymarket signs over by the police station, having something on the back side.
Yeah, I think there was some
It says,
comment
you know,
in here, wasn't it?
leaving Haymarket, come again. Is there any way to flip these and actually some way to visualize it in a photo?
Well, my photo software packages I have was very crude. I mean, I think I was using Paint for most of this and cutting and pasting photos on top of each other.
Yeah, and you can tell.
Well, this is a great start. I think we really need this. It's a great
Yeah.
start on it. So I appreciate you guys doing it.
I like this.
I do too very much.
What's
And
that?
then,
Oh yeah, on the highway.
Yeah, and you know what I
Yeah,
did?
go around.
All I did was I took the picture that we have on our Word documents, and I put it into Paint, and then I just inverted the colors on it.
and you might even consider putting, established 1799.
Yeah, well,
Put the
that would
date.
be in the design phase of it, in which we can actually come up with how things look.
But I like the museum on it, and then where it says Welcome
Yeah.
to Haymarket. And
Well,
you could
to
even
me, that
use,
museum marking is our brand.
yes,
And that's why if you looked at the old Carolina signs, which would be added to the corporate town, all it says on there, it's simple, it's just welcome, but it's got that brand
right.
right on it. So,
In the site 3, the one above the traffic light,
I
there's
know.
still a discussion as to whether or not that's even legal.
I know, but I would love that because there's just too much detail going on coming from that direction with the all the street lights and the commercial buildings that are being put up
Correct.
there. That it's
On
going to be
site
tough.
3, I guess we're talking about maybe doing the alternate low-mounted ground sign, the median there.
Well, if you're coming 55
55 east,
east,
eastbound.
something that they see, not 15 north or south, something coming from
Well, that's what I meant, is that you'd,
that light, the only place to put it,
Yeah,
so
there's
you
no
can either,
median or anything
there's
to put
Sheets and
something.
CVS on either side that you
Yeah.
see in front of you,
gotcha.
and the property across 15 is not ours to put anything on. And so all we have is above.
And
Well, I'm
what-
saying there's a striped median between CVS and Sheets. It's
There's a straight, yeah.
there's a striped median. That's what I was talking about. If you want to do a ground mounted sign, doing it in the median there, like Lee's.
True, but one of the issues there is that they get taken out every
Yeah.
now and again. They get taken
Yeah,
out by
there's no actual
cars.
curb.
That's-
Well, no, it's
Yeah.
the one in Leesburg. It's actually a raised curb. It's a raised island.
Correct.
That right now it's like a striped island. You'd be a raised island. The center would be in the center of it, and you could put some bollards kind of discreetly around it to keep it from being nailed. But yeah, that's the risk you take.
Decorative
So the
lines,
crazy
of
people
course.
coming out of Sheets.
Or a tractor trailer running it over.
Yeah.
Well,
only-
and then the snow plows.
The
Yeah.
snow plows and everything else,
But-
crazy people coming out of Sheets and making that turn off at
Exactly.
15.
May not be ideal. Just an idea. I think the old one used to be over the sheets in front of the sheets. Right? So that may have to hold off on that one simply because with the interchange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
the
that
design's still not
interchange is going to
finalized.
Yeah.
change
But
it.
that's the reason I wanted to get this out as fast as possible, and that's why I got it to Holly, is so that she could understand that we want to do stuff that needs to integrate with the changes that they're going to put out there. And so whatever we can throw to her as fast as possible, the more she can incorporate it into their design, and maybe even have them pay for it. As part of
Exactly.
the,
So,
That'd be
yeah,
nice.
that's the
That'd be
question
good.
to Holly is that site 3, is that sign above the traffic light? Is there something we can put a historic marker above the actual traffic light itself above?
That would
the
be pretty
welcome
cool.
to- It would look
Downtown
great.
Haymarket.
It would look
Right.
nice.
Welcome to Haymarket, with the little museum sign and all that, and this little, I just don't know if it's legal, if we can actually do that on a traffic light.
Well, as you said, it's just a
just a concept. At the
concept, and then we can
Yeah.
start throwing darts at it. I think it's great that we definitely need to demarcate the town.
Yes.
Looks good.
I have to.
And, no one's,
And I can tell you right now, there are going to be members of town council that go, okay, yes, it looks great. How do you want to pay for it?
And no one's laughing at my my scripted areas in there because, I am not a writer. I am an engineer, so I is an engineer. I do not write.
That is okay.
It's fine.
Is this actually 55 from the sound?
No, it's probably some picture I cropped.
That does not look familiar.
I mean, yeah, I actually looked for a picture that would meld well with the sign that I had available for whatever I created. So, I searched the internet for a few good pictures.
Well, you did good. You did
It's
well.
interesting, if you go on Google Earth, they have the street view. That's kind of scary because you'll go through town.
And I did use
And you can
that.
see people walking on the street with like their faces
Blurred out.
Blurred out.
Yeah, I did do. I think I did do that for the town entrance coming westbound on 55. I think that picture was the Google Earth. A
Yeah,
snapshot.
it's-
The thing is, it's tough to take a picture of it because you got to take a screenshot. You just
Yeah.
can't click on it and say,
Fair.
capture. Yeah.
I've got a question about a sign.
Okay.
I don't know if we can do it. Out at 29 and 55. Put one there and says, "Hey, Market."
I think we could.
I mean, it's
Or
something we
29
have to add.
Gallagher
There's-
or whatever
there's-
we want to call it
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah.
There's two ways to do
Whatever.
it. We just put it up,
Yeah.
and the other
Once-
way is to formally.
Formally ask VDOT.
But again, that's got to be one of those things you need to wait for all that construction
Yeah,
to go.
I mean, especially with
Right,
the
but I
way-
just mean
the way
that while
the
we're
ramps
talking,
and
let's
everything.
think, if you're going to buy signs and they're going to be the same, you might want to think about two more and point Haymarket out to people, because 29 is the well-used throughway.
Well, even like coming up off the highway off of 66 West, most towns when you come up on it, it'll say Haymarket this way. This, you don't even have that, so even something like that off down the off ramp.
Or something that even signifies the historic district of Haymarket.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
Haymarket, but there's nothing that'll bring you to Old
So
Town.
what's Haymarket?
Right, there is a town,
Yeah, there's like when you go to Alexandria, there's the Alexandria exit, and there's
Right.
the Old Town
I've had
brown sign.
people mad at
When we
me.
Historic.
get- when we get the
You're not in Haymarket.
CCL, right,
No, I'm
or
in
CLT,
Haymarket.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
You're not in Haymarket.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I have a Haymarket address, and I'm like, you're not within the corporate boundary.
Right.
That's a mailing address.
Yeah,
You
what's
could
the
be all the way up on
boundary?
Shelter Lane behind the 7
Yeah, this
off
is really
234.
upsetting.
You're in
I
Haymarket.
bought a house.
You're not
I bought a
Haymarket.
house because I thought I was in Haymarket. Well, you're in the zip code. You're not in the.
Yeah.
Or you're up on the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking at Shelter Lane, all the way back behind the 7-Eleven off
Yeah.
44. That's Haymarket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it goes all the way out to Little Red Mountain.
Okay. So are we done with the welcome sign? So all I need to change is to add a town interior town branding motif.
I'll just say a sign. You come up with the branding, but just signage for public buildings.
Okay.
Town
Then
welcome.
I'll add that, and I'll give it to you to submit. When's the meeting? December.
It is
you know?
December. Hold, please. Thank you. Your brain
Okay.
is faster than my phone.
So I'll try to get that to you at least a week before that meeting. Let me put that in my notes, or else I'm going to forget.
2 weeks and 6 days from today.
Or when's the next day or big meeting is that date? Huh? On a Wednesday? I won't
It's
be
on a
here.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I just didn't know what the date was, but I won't be here for that.
Yeah, when is the December meeting?
December 19th.
19th. I got to see if I'm going to be here too, so we might have troubles with that meeting.
I could do the week before, but not the week after.
Okay. Town property, I think we pretty much covered everything with town property, right? Town Council ARB liaison, you pretty much gave your report, Kat. Anything you want to add to it?
No.
Okay, any questions people want to throw at Kat? Okay. Certified local government, that was communicated. Do we want to keep this open and keep a history of what they throw back, or do we want to close this out as a task?
It's been closed as the task, because it has been given to PC, or Planning Commission, for their review, and I think they're the ones that have to act on it first.
You don't have to act, that's just probably the appropriate
Yeah.
way to move it
So, yeah, I
forward.
mean, yeah,
Okay,
keep it open,
we'll
but
deem
then,
this closed then, or you want to keep it open?
I would keep it open and
Okay.
then revisit in January, because that'll give December for us to review it, and then back to
Okay.
what all we did to it in December should be able to be discussed in January.
Okay, I want to deem the status of this on hold, revisit in January with direction from the Town Council. Okay, and the liaison, we said that's closed. I'm actually going backwards again.
Yep.
Just make sure I get everything. Okay, Planning Commission. Are you on the Planning Commission, or do you just kind of attend, Marshawn?
I staff it.
Okay. Can I throw this on you since we don't
Sure.
have a liaison? At the September ARB, what was that shindig? Do you know what it was officially called?
Workshop.
Yeah, the workshop, whatever. They said that Plan Virginia is intending on holding a training session for PC type of training in Leesburg in January of 2013.
Okay.
They may want a heads up on that.
Okay.
If they need more information, I can't give it to them, but they could probably go to Plan Virginia's website and find it.
Cool.
And those were the only tasks. I guess no real new tasks were created out of this
Only to
discussion.
you for the side project.
Well, continuation of
Continue,
tasks,
yeah,
just
to
more
revise.
history on it, yeah. Okay, with that said, does anybody else have any comments? Okay, I guess we can start item 9. Do I have a move for
Motion
adjournment?
to adjourn.
Second.
All right. So, we don't vote on that, do we? I'll tell you, I gotta learn this. Okay, a vote, all in favor?
I think we should discuss it for a while.
Aye, okay, so we deem this closed at 8:31. God, I'm dragging these meetings on nowadays.
Well, it's, Sherry's gonna
It's Marshawn's fault.
She's gonna kick me tomorrow. I was long-winded.